Yeah.
Okay, great. Now that we're all here, I want to give a demonstration. Again, I'm going to operate these two machines. Now, quick warning, when I started, the wood produces a very loud and unpleasant scratching sound, so if you're sensitive to these sort of things, you can cover your ears. I will also count down. I'm going to operate the machine in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Ayalon Institute. We are now inside the original bullet factory that it all worked. But of course, today's a museum, so obviously we've added new stuff for the museum. For example, the staircase that we were done with wasn't there. Of course, the new elevator that is new from last year. But I wanted to mention one more thing that we're all enjoying right now, and this is the air conditioning system. They didn't have it. All they had back then was the original ventilation system you can see right here, which didn't cool the place at all. So this is why working here was so tough. It was extremely cold and suffocating. Darker as well, because we didn't have all of those lights. They did have the 4 satellites, you can see above you, those are original. And that's actually one of the things that is original here, and a lot of people are surprised by it. This is the floor. This is the original floor of the factory, which is amazing because I have the exact same floor in my house. So spread no extent. Also, of course, last but not least are the machines. The machines that you just saw, you'll see later on, are the original ones that you used to make bullets. We've actually brought them back for the museum for you to see. So you can already start to imagine how it was like working here. Extremely crowded, very hot, suffocating, dark, and stressful. Because then you hear something that was illegal. And by the way, if you notice the machines was a bit irritating right now, it's nothing compared to what it used to be. Because now we only have 2 machines working. Back then they had 12 working at the same time, almost all day long. So yes, the conditions were hard. But they all understood why it's important for them to come down here to enjoy it. Because it was the only way to find it. And they realized that if they won't come down here and do it, no one else would. And now I actually want to tell you about what they did, about bullet making and what these machines did. But in order to explain better, I would like us all to take a few steps over there, because I want to show you an actual 9mm bullet. Same sort of the make here. So welcome to come closer. I want to explain your room, so welcome to come closer. Come closer everyone, so you can all see it. Now basically, if you look over here, you can see that I'm holding right now in my hand an actual 9mm bullet. By the way, the one that I'm holding right now and also the one I'm wearing on my neck are real, but they're not dangerous in any way because they have some parts that are missing. Now, even though this bullet has some missing parts, you can still see the basic checks and understand how it is working. And I will explain right now. Basically, the top part of it is the part called a projectile. And this is the part that when you pull the trigger in the rifle, you actually shoot. This is what will hit the target. Used to make it from a lead hole in a copper jacket, which is the part visible right now. Now, beneath it, there's another longer part called the shell case. And this is the part that it would fill with gunpowder. Of course, this shell case is completely empty. This is why it cannot explode. Also, if you take a look at the bottom of it, of the shell case, you can see that there's a hole there. But inside this hole, the would insert another part that we see here right now, called a primer. And a primer is basically a very sensitive metal that when it gets a strong heat, it creates a spark. Now this spark was supposed to ignite all of the gunpowder inside the shell case, and this would create an explosion that would shoot the projectile. So this is how it works. But there was actually one part that turned out to be extremely difficult for them to make. And this was surprising, the shell case. Because in order to make that, they had to use a special material called brass that you can't get in Israel. So just to make the shell cases, they had to keep a special small rod these sorts of brass plates. Actually, one time the British had caught a huge shipment of plates coming to Tel Aviv, and they made an arrest. This time in Turkey. They wanted to know what to use it for. So, what the internal representatives that came for the shipment told them was that the women who live around here that like to decorate themselves with jewelry and accessories made of gold or silver. But those materials are just way too expensive for them. So this is why for people these brass. Because this material can actually look a bit like gold. And of course it's way cheaper. Unfortunately, the British didn't believe it. They demanded the proof. They told them, alright, if that's what we can make, then show us an actual factory that really uses brass to make this sort of stuff. So, what they did was to point them out and to send them to a real factory that was around in Jaffa back then, a lipstick factory that actually used brass to make their cases. As you can see, it actually looks nice, and fortunately for them, it was good enough for the British, and the shipment came here for them to work. But now let's talk about work. Basically, after we would get the brass shipment, the first machine would take those plates and it would cut them to the shapes of small discs. Later, the second machine would take those discs and it would crush them and reshape them like small cups, like the one I'm holding right now. Later, they had over here 3 other machines that each of them would all draw and stretch these cups a bit and a bit more until they got the final shape of the shell piece. But it had a problem. It always came out a bit too long for what they needed. So this is why they brought here a cutting machine that would just bring the paper weight to make it a standard name. And they actually came up with a funny nickname for the guy who manned the station, a very Jewish nickname. They called him the Moel, the circumcision. And anyway, after he would finish it, after they would finish this long process, they would always end up with a problem. This is because of the fact that whenever you would operate these machines, you would get a lot of extra parts, metal shavings that would just fly around spread everywhere. And for them it was dangerous, because obviously if one of the shavings would get trapped in somebody's hair, shoes or clothes, and if it will go up and somebody will find it on them, it could turn in the factory. So this is why, right over here, right beneath the ladder that went up to the laundromat, they built this cleaning station that had to pass through and to make sure very thoroughly that they cleaned each time before it went up. And by the way, if you look behind me, you will be able to see a corridor with 2 very unusual rooms for a bullet factory. The first room was the tanning room. Do you remember what was their excuse for the job that they were doing all day?
Working outside.
Working outside in the field. So it didn't make any sense for them to come back the most paid. So yeah, this is why they brought UV lights for the workers, and as a side effect, built here Israel's first tanning salon. Also, if you continue to the end of the corridor, you will be able to see the shooting range. Basically, they had to test that the bullets are working, so they took samples. But you know, gunfire is extremely loud, so this is why they did the testing only when the train passed above us with a whole lot and made a lot of noise in all of the area. And the gun that you see there is a 10 submachine gun that basically they made in secret and produced the bullets for. So if you want to go and have a quick look, you are welcome. But I would like to continue to the other half of the factory and to tell you about what used to be the most dangerous station. So again, you're welcome to go and have a quick look and follow me.
Don't worry.
Same people in all of them, 4 people, they're all of the same pitch. Same 3 girls, same guy, and all of them.
Alright everyone, please join us. I want to tell you about this space. Basically, we have arrived now to what used to be the most dangerous station in the fight. This was due to a very specific reason. It was the last stage of the bullet making process. Over here, they would take all the parts, and all they had to do now was to just seal it all together. But for it to be sealed, they actually had to apply a lot of pressure on it and use this machine to do it. And this machine was operated manually. So all they had to do was to take the parts, put them right here, and then just had to pull the levers strong enough to seal it. But the dangerous part about it is that if somebody would apply too much force on the parts, it could explode. And an explosion here wouldn't only injure the people who are next to it, but could turn the factory to the British. So this is why one accident here could have been lethal. And they couldn't afford that to happen. So in order to avoid accidents, they actually decided to train only these three ladies to do this one job. They had to do it perfectly each time. And they actually did it. They never had an explosion. But after they would finish this delicate and dangerous test, they would get the end product, the 9mm bullet. So now, all they had left to do was to take the bullets and package them. They used to put them in these cardboard boxes, 50 bullets in each. And at the end of each day, they started to pile them up over here. But now they had a different problem. Because they were stuck down here with huge amount of ammunition that they had to smuggle up without being caught. So for this mission, they had special people from the Haganah actually smuggle the bullets out of here using these sort of mail containers. And those containers had a trick. They had a double bottom. So that meant that they could take the bullets, pile them up on the real bottom of it, and then on top of that was another fake one. So even if somebody would open the lid and try to check what's inside, they would find the fake bottom and not the bullets. Now, even though this method worked well for a while, they had to completely stop using it after a very famous incident that happened in Jerusalem. Maybe you've heard about it, the explosion of the key hotel. Now, in this incident, another resistant group called the Irgun actually smuggled explosives underneath the British headquarters in the hotel, and they actually smuggled those explosives using these sort of milk containers. So after this incident, the British started to scan those very thoroughly, and that meant that they had to stop using it and to adapt. So they actually found even a better method, and basically applied the same trick but on a bigger scale. They actually built entire secret compartments in the milk trucks that used to come. And those truck drivers used to come here at night when everyone was asleep. They would sneak through the laundromat, come down here, take off the bullets, and then disappear. So for the next morning, when the workers returned here, they would discover that somehow during the night when they were all asleep, all of the bullets that they made here previously had disappeared. So they used to tell each other that little elves are coming here in the night and they're taking all of the bullets. And this is why later on, those big trucks earned themselves the nickname of the elves. But now I actually want us to proceed to the last room of the factory because I would like to tell you about how they build it. So let's go over there. You are welcome to go and have a seat on the ammunition boxes. Don't worry, they're empty. Step one.